What's up, gang? Welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you've been doing all right, because I've been boiling, quite frankly. It's about 700 degrees in New York. That aside, I've recently been really obsessed with Chernobyl and nuclear bunkers and nuclear reactors and frankly anything nuclear. Don't ask me why. I feel like every single week I develop a new love for something oddly specific. Some would call it a fixation. So I've now been inspired to make a Serum 2 preset that sounds like Chernobyl. Something that makes me feel exactly like this. So let's get right into it. I've prepared some MIDI in advance. Let's take a look. So that's just playing on the initial preset in Serum 2, which is just a saw wave. Instead of the wavetable, I think I'm going to go to spectral, and then let's go to factory. Why don't we go for a piano? That's going to work wonderfully. I'm going to click on this filter right here and just cut out some of those lows. Now, I do actually want to include most of the lows because I do have some low notes in my MIDI, so I don't want to completely get rid of them. God, my glasses are fogged up already. It's been like 2.5 seconds. All right, now we can turn on Oscillator B and let's use the granular synthesizer. Why not? Let's go to Factory, Synth, and let's use the 16 voice C3. So that's too low, so I'm going to raise it up an octave. But now it's doing crazy things. I'm going to go ahead and switch this from one shot to manual so that I can select the exact position here that I want it to play from. And then I'm going to click on this little arrow right here and change the offset to about 47%. Let's hear what that sounds like together. That's exactly what I want. I wanted a combination of something more natural sounding, like a piano, combined with a synthesizer. Because I feel like that captured... Maybe the piano was like left behind in some house nearby Chernobyl, and the synthesizer is a representation of all the technology within Chernobyl. That totally distracted me. One thing I do want to do is maybe make this a bit more wide. So I'm going to use this pan knob. So something like that, a movement like that, panning from left to right would be cool. So I'm going to use LFO 1, and then I'm going to Option Shift click here to make it go both ways. Right now the rate is at a quarter note. I'm going to speed it up to an eighth note. And I'm just going to lower that so that it doesn't go as far left and right. We can now turn on our noise. Let's go for some brown noise. Gotta say, it's my favorite noise. I actually don't mind having a lot of noise in this sound because I want that grit. And brown noise is the perfect balance between gritty but also just soft at the same time. Let's turn on our filter now. And I'm actually not going to filter Oscillator A. I'm going to just do B. MG Low 12 should be fine. So I kind of want the filter to open up as the sound plays. So let's use an LFO, like LFO 2. I'm going to drag this over here. I'm going to curve it a little bit, change it to envelope mode. And then I'm going to set the BPM over here to 2 bars. And then I'm going to map the LFO to the cutoff. Let's see what that sounds like. Great, I'm going to map the same LFO to the resonance a little bit. Oh, why not? A little bit to the drive and a little bit to the fat knob. We can modify our envelope a little bit. So I'm going to raise the attack to about 15 milliseconds, lower the decay and sustain a little bit, just to make it a little bit more plucky. So I think that's sounding pretty damn good. The last thing I'm going to do over here is click on this F1 button up here and send Oscillator B to bus 1. Then we can go to our effects section, click on bus 1, and I'm going to add a reverb. Let's go with Hall. I'm going to cut the lows a little bit, and let's see what that sounds like. I'm just gonna lower the output of bus 1 slightly. Now we have our piano dry and the synth wet, but they still work together. Great, so now we can start adding some main effects. Let's go for a flanger. I'm gonna dial it in at about 67%. Then let's add a compressor. I'm gonna change the ratio to 3:1. I'm gonna leave all this the same, raise the threshold a bit. And I just want to be catching those little peaks. I don't want to be doing any crazy sort of compression. Now we can add a chorus. And the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a utility. I'm going to use this width knob to just make the sound a little bit more mono, because I'm pretty sure it's super wide right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map macro number 1 to the width over here. I'm going to option shift click and then just pull this down to about 30%. And I'm going to shorten this so that it ends at 20%. So now the sound is more mono, and I'm going to name this width. When you open it up, the sound is more stereo, and we can see that on an imager. So now I've got it all the way wide. You can see how wide that is, but when I pull this knob down, you can see that it's become more mono. Not completely mono, but more mono. And I love having this availability when I'm making these super wide Serum 2 presets, because in some mixed circumstances, you can afford to have a super wide sound, but in other cases, having a super wide sound like that makes it impossible to be mono compatible at times, and it's hard to hear on smaller speakers and things like phones. So I'm loving the way this is sounding. I think I'm going to wrap it up because I'm sweating to death and I like the way it sounds. Thank God this isn't like a 4K zoom camera. Okay, so for the final piece, I added a couple of textural elements. This one right here. And then just some like tape hiss. Added a bass from Analog Lab as well. And then finally, I pulled up the OPX on this Brighten Up preset. Got the flanger from Arturia and the phaser from Moog on it, as well as a Valhalla Vintage Verb. Without further ado, let's just play the whole thing. So that'll just about do it for this week's video. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If you made it, I really appreciate all the recent support. It's been awesome to see and to hear from you guys. As always, I have a bunch of free resources linked in the bio below. I'm talking about Serum 2 presets, my Prophet 5V guide, if the Prophet synthesizer ever confused you. All of those free resources are linked down below in the bio. Go grab them. Thank you again for the support. It means everything. Thank you for sweating with me through this tutorial. If you're in New York City, you know how awful it is. Thank you again, and I'll see you very soon. Have a good day.